what resonates for me is that, in our particular investigation in Vancouver, where when I took on the investigation, we had 17 missing women. Over a third of them were Indigenous. But the overarching thing that struck me was just the intersectionality of all the different factors that were coming into play. We had classism right off the top. We had sexism. We had racism. We had bias against women that were living in poverty, working in the sex trade and the survival sex trade. These were all issues that I was faced with. And just to give you a bit of an idea of my background, I came to policing. I had been a reporter, and I joined the police department. And right from that time, it was a very interesting kind of experience, because in the police academy, it's everything's very theoretical, and they talk to you in ways that, everyone there has joined to help people. And I was certainly the same. And they tell you at that time in the academy, if you see things in the job that concern you, talk to your sergeant, talk to people, come back to the academy, tell us, we'll help you. There's all this help that's presented. And I can tell you that in the first day that I joined the police department, and I walked with my partner on the beat in the downtown east side, and I watched him take a handcuff hook and ream out the mouth of a drug dealer with the sharp end of that hook, looking for drugs that weren't there. And I knew in that instant, A, I knew it was wrong, and I was horrified, and B, I knew I was so already in that first day overwhelmed by that police culture that I knew that it was unsafe for me to speak out about that. And that is the experience of the police culture that permeates all of these investigations. And so what you have is a very dominant culture, and you have well-meaning, the police are always recruiting. They're recruiting visible minorities, and recruiting women. They want people, they want you to join that family. And then as soon as you do join, you are completely submerged by that culture, and you actually become that culture, and you can no longer, I think, do the right thing. And for me, because I always felt like an embedded journalist in the police department, I felt like an imposter. I questioned that at every stage of the game, but I didn't have a voice. I only now have a voice because I'm no longer there, and I've written a book. But before that, I couldn't speak out, and it was incredibly frustrating, because even when I tried to speak out, because my experience through this investigation was as a female, nobody was listening. And I had this frustration all the time of feeling like, basically in a nutshell for the audience, we knew quite early on who the suspect was in this, who became Canada's largest serial killer. I had a tip the second day on the job, and I could not get the resources and the people in place to actually arrest this man or conduct an investigation in order to arrest him. And I think that that's the tragedy, because there's that overarching attitude that these women don't matter, these investigations don't matter. We have all the investigative tools in the world in place, but there's nothing that tells an individual police officer, policeman, that this is important, and you need to tell people this is important. We have a major case management model, but someone has to designate it a major case. And unfortunately, 17, 21, 31 missing women, mostly Indigenous, was never considered a major case by anybody in charge.